This is KGW News at noon.
Putin chose this war, and now he and his country will bear the consequences.
Just moments ago, President Biden announcing how the U.S. will respond after Russia invaded Ukraine, shattering the peace in Europe. We'll bring you the latest in just a few minutes. But first this noon, surprise snowfall here in the metro area. Take a look at this video from this morning. We saw a dusting there in Happy Valley, a little bit here in Portland, and snow in southwest Washington, too. Let's check in with meteorologist Rod Hill. Rod, temperatures are rising.
They are. So for the most part, as far as I can get eyes on anyway, that dusting of snow is pretty much gone. Here's our Rose City camera. A lot of clouds, but you can tell some brightness. There was snow down here in the medians between the highway this morning. That is long since gone. And of course, the reason we are warming up, 36 degrees is the temperature right now. And unless you're up in elevation or up against the Cascade foothills, everybody's warming. In fact, downtown Portland is now 38, and that matches the temperature for you folks in Salem. We are on track to see increasing sun clear us out in the coming hours. We'll get up to about 43 degrees. The most snow was an inch. Where was that? That was at Timberline Lodge.
Ah, where it should be. Rod, thanks. We'll talk soon. Well, thank you to all of you who texted pictures of what the snow looked like at your house. We got a lot of them, like this winter wonderland. Very pretty. We saw some video earlier of Happy Valley. Now here's a viewer photo. More proof it was a white wake-up call this morning. Same deal in Vancouver. It was less than 30 degrees when this picture was sent in. And finally, check this out, a shot from Oregon City. Look at all those paw prints, that little guy there outside having a blast, running around in the snow. And if you'd like to share photos of the morning snow with us, just go ahead and text it. The number there, 503-226-5088.
Liberty, democracy, human dignity, these are the forces far more powerful than fear and oppression.
Russia has launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, unleashing airstrikes on cities and military bases and sending in troops and tanks from multiple directions. Ukraine's government is pleading for help as civilians pile into trains and cars to flee. Russian President Vladimir Putin is threatening any country trying to interfere. NBC's Bree Jackson has the latest.
President Biden condemning Russia, calling the attack on Ukraine unprovoked and unjustified.
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war, and now he and his country will bear the consequences.
The White House unleashing new sanctions to punish the Kremlin for its actions.
We've now sanctioned Russian banks that together hold around $1 trillion in assets. We're also blocking 4 more major banks. That means every asset they have in America will be frozen.
President Biden convened a meeting with the National Security Council this morning. This after Russian tanks crossed into Ukraine from Belarus and other neighboring countries. Sirens wailing and explosions heard in major cities. Video shows the aftermath of shelling on civilian and military infrastructure. Dozens of Ukrainian soldiers reportedly killed by Russian airstrikes and missile strikes.
Russia has attacked Ukraine. This is a brutal act of war.
Россия остается частью мировой экономики.
Russian President Vladimir Putin claims the attack is intended to protect civilians.
Innumerable missiles and bombs have been...
World leaders are demanding Putin to fully withdraw his troops from Ukraine, also promising harsh sanctions against Russia. During an emergency meeting, members of the United Nations Security Council pleaded for peace. Ukraine's president declaring martial law and claiming Russian forces are trying to seize Chernobyl, the nuclear facility. Major traffic backups as people flee to safety. The U.S. continuing to vow support.
Defend every inch of NATO territory with the full force of American power.
And reassure NATO allies. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
We spoke to the pastor at the Ukrainian Baptist Church in Vancouver just after he found out about the attack.
We are broken tonight. Our people start to live a free life. They learn how to do that. And now it is like Putin tried to return back to Soviet Union.
The pastor's family lives in Kyiv, including his brother-in-law. We spoke briefly with him, and he says he heard bombs going off about 3 miles from his home.
We see panicked people, we see big lines at the petrol stations, we see big lines in also shops, because actually up until a few hours ago, actually no one believed that Russians could really do it.
The Ukrainian Bible Church is located in Fairview, and it's planning a special prayer service this Sunday. In the meantime, the congregation has collected medical and other supplies, but they say right now there's really no reliable way to send them to Ukraine. We'll continue to follow any new developments throughout the day. You can stay up to date on the situation in Ukraine on air and online at KGW.com. Big news today when it comes to COVID restrictions here in Oregon. The state announced that its indoor mask mandate will end on March 19th. At that time, schools can also drop mask mandates if they choose to. Originally, the state said it would lift restrictions on March 31st, but moved up the date, citing rapidly declining new COVID infections and hospitalizations. Now, the other important date to remember is April 1st. That's when Governor Brown will lift Oregon's emergency declaration, saying with so many Oregonians vaccinated, extraordinary measures are no longer needed. Okay, now back to our weather surprise, shall we call it, this morning, and what's in store from here on out. Rod, you said it. It's a much quieter afternoon.
It is indeed. Again, we had the most widespread snow up north into Clark County, then also out toward Gresham and on the east side down near Clackamas. But all the reports from those areas turned into the National Weather Service were still less than an inch. So it was generally a really light dusting to around 1/2 inch of snow. It was a pretty good coverage because every single snowflake was able to stick, which we don't see that often, right? Here's a live camera I just grabbed this shot from. This is the Mount Hood Oregon Resort up in Welches. This is 1,500 feet. And my point is, even up there, they didn't get complete coverage, or if they did, they melted it off, because you can see the grass is already starting to shine. The temperatures up in that area are generally running about 33 degrees right now. I showed you the brightness over downtown Portland a moment ago. We're getting some blue all the way down into Yamhill County. That's the hill from the Stoller Family Vineyards estate camera. Still 32, but temperatures are going to be warming. Now, if you just look at this, a lot of clouds, but they're starting to thin and everything is dropping to the south. So we will see increasing sunshine kind of filtrating in from north to south across the area. It'll be clear tonight, and just like that, we get back into another hard freeze. So this is tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Mid-20s, Albany, Salem, Portland, Kelso, 29 in Tillamook. Low teens over in Central Oregon. Doggone it, we're not completely rid of the cold weather yet. The weekend does warm up, though. We'll have that shortly.
All right, thank you, Rod. Does not take much black ice to cause trouble. That's what led to 2 rollover crashes this morning in Gresham. They both happened on Northeast 201st Avenue, just below Interstate 84. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office tweeted out these pictures. Wow, despite the way those vehicles look, fortunately, no one was hurt. A scare at Sherwood Middle School last night. A person playing with their dog found this homemade bomb. Police shared the picture of it there. It's a ball wrapped in tape with a fuse coming out of the top. Experts safely detonated the bomb at the scene, and police checked all other facilities in the district to make sure there was not another bomb somewhere. Well, there's a bizarre twist involving a deadly shooting in North Portland. Investigators believe the man responsible is the brother of convicted murderer Jeremy Christian. Christian is serving multiple life sentences for the Max Train stabbings in 2017. Now the DA is deciding whether to charge his brother for the shooting last week. Here's Maggie Vespa with more.
The district attorney's office confirms David Christian is, as they put it, the individual involved in last week's fatal shooting of Zachary Moore. And Willamette Week is reporting David Christian is the brother of convicted murderer Jeremy Christian. Jeremy Christian is currently serving multiple life sentences for the deadly Max stabbings of 2017, an attack that left 2 men dead and a 3rd wounded. Well, now it's his brother who may be charged in a different crime, the shooting death of Zachary Moore. Last Wednesday, police said Moore was gunned down in North Portland's St. John's neighborhood. Moore's family already wanted the DA to pursue charges against David Christian, but now, knowing about this connection to the deadly Max attack, Moore's mom is baffled.
I did not know that. I just found this out right now. Oh my gosh. So that's really scary for my grandchildren, you know? So that's really scary. And that makes me wonder why the police would let him go.
So she mentioned police letting him go. Why no arrest at this point? Well, the DA isn't commenting, but Moore's family says David Christian told investigators that he and Moore knew people in common and that on the night of the shooting, Zachary Moore pushed someone. They say Christian claims he shot Moore to defend the other person. Now, Moore did have a history of violent charges, but the family says Moore was a new dad and they don't believe he would have been violent that night. We have reached out to David Christian and the Christian family. No response. We'll let you know if that changes. As for Jeremy Christian, he is currently at Two Rivers Correctional Institution in Umatilla, serving multiple life sentences for the 2017 Max attack. I'm Maggie Vespa, KGW News.
Somebody broke into a Southeast Portland nonprofit twice over the weekend. It happened at Compassion Connect on 122nd near Division. There's the suspect. He was caught on camera as he got away with thousands of dollars in property. The first break-in happened early Saturday morning. Then the crook came back on Sunday. Employees say he got away with a large TV, computers, printers, and medical equipment. And get this, the guy came back a third time on Monday, but they'd already changed the locks. Compassion Connect coordinates medical care, helps churches serve their neighborhoods, and runs an anti-trafficking ministry.
You know, if he had just come to us and asked for help, we would have done what we could to help him. So it's really sad that instead he would choose to come and try to hurt us and damage us.
Police are investigating. They hope this video and tips from the public will help them identify this thief.